Okay, so this is week 7, the coding project. For this week, we wanted to start off in MySQL Workbench, where we created a schema named projects, and with that, we created a user named projects that also had a password named project. And with this user, we wanted to make sure that they were granted all these privileges except for grant option. So here's the schema projects, and here are all the privileges for the projects. The first step to this week's exercise was to create a Maven project, which we did here. The next step for this project was to edit the project object model. This file is kept in the project root directory. We added a property with the correct Java version. Which you can see right here, we used version 11. The next was to create the dependencies section in order to add the MySQL driver. The following step was to add a section to the POM file that tells the Eclipse which compiler version to use. And that was done in the build section right here. So this is the whole POM file, as you could see. Next, we had to set up the project packages over here. What we did was created a package for projects, projects DAO, projects entity, projects exception, and project service. Within the projects exception package, we created a DB exception class. This class extends the runtime exception and overrides the following constructors from the superclass. So it has this exception, this with a string method, this with a cause, and this with both a string message and a cause. Next, we had to create a DB connection class. Within this class, we wanted to create the following constants, which was schema, user, password, host, and port, which you saw earlier on when we created the projects in the MySQL Workbench. Here we created a string URL that contains the MySQL connection. We then called the driver manager to obtain a connection and pass the connection string to the driver manager by get connection. We surround the call to driver manager with a try catch block. The catch block should catch the SQL exception. We then printed out this message, successfully obtained connection, if the connection is successful, and if not, this will print out the error message and indicate what the problem is. Finally, we created the project's apt file. In this file, I created a class with a main method that called the DB connection get connection. And if you want to see if it works, and there we go, successfully obtained connection. And here is the URL we created earlier.